this past week. So, things you might have forgotten about this past week. So, we have a decent sized docket today. We're going to jump in with some world news. And first one up, I'm sure most people have heard about it so far, but it's a pretty big deal. So Jay, take it away.
Got you right now, sir. So, what does Willow Project sound like to you when I say those words?
Well, Willow just reminds me of like the Disney Plus series that came out based off of it was Willow, right? Or Labyrinth?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're
Yeah.
100% correct.
Okay.
Literally, so I saw it yesterday, this Willow Project, just to get it off the cuff. The Biden administration basically not spearheaded, but they signed off on getting the Willow project done. My first thought was, oh, this is something cool because Willow sounds hunky dory, and this is like going to be something dope for the environment or something
Yeah.
good for us. It's not. It, I, they should have chose death defying thingy, destroy the planet. But anyway, I'm where I'm getting my news from is from AP News, so everything I'm saying here is going to just be a little excerpt. So basically, in Alaska, there's the Willow Project is a I forget the size. It's a large land of land where the government is just going to be getting their oil from, and it's
Okay.
the size of Indiana, the state,
Which
not
is
the
like
city, which we
absolutely
just talked about.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So basically, I'm just gonna go through like the main points of the article. So the first question was like, "What is the Willow Project?" So I'll just read it verbatim, so I'm not butchering because I'd rather not flub this up. The project could produce up to 180,000 barrels a day of oil, according to the company. I'll get to the company in a second. About 1.5% of total U.S. oil production, which is ridiculous. Like that's not good. We know this already. Everything I'm saying to you is not good. Alaska Republican U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan said that development could be one of the biggest, most important resource development projects of the state's history. And one of the things too, they said that it would be good for the indigenous people of the area economically. But then that just struck a chord in my brain. I was like, that doesn't sound correct. That just sounds like they're using the word indigenous
Yeah.
just to like say, no, this is a good thing.
Just as like a
So again,
buzzword, basically.
it is a buzzword, and I would have to do my research on this. But the one thing, the journalist in me, I'm not a journalist, but technically we are if you think about it.
We're
But I'm
like
not a hardcore.
e-journalists.
I'm not a hard-boiled detective journalist. But when I remember learning in my little side tangent in my journalism class, one of my favorite professors always said the word "go where the silence is." It's kind of like another word saying "read between the lines." Um, for those listening, definitely do your research and look this up. So let me continue. So using the oil from willow would produce the equivalent of more than 263 million tons of greenhouse gases over the project's 30-year life, roughly equal to the combined emissions from 1.7 million passenger cars over the same time period. Crazy.
That sounds like quite a
And
lot.
they go and say it would have roughly 8% reduction in emission compared to the Houston base. But it's like that's like a nice little fluff, like, oh, it's gonna be less than this, but I'm like, no, but you're still adding. It's one of the things that I learned from my dad when you're doing sales, like when you go on,
Hmm.
like, you look at the grocery sales, like save $10, but I'm like, you're not saving $10. You just spent $40. Just because something was 50, you didn't save anything. So this to me, that's how I saw it. I was like, okay, yes, it's 8% than this. That doesn't make it better.
And
So
that thing is still existing. So, are we really saving anywhere? I don't think so.
exactly.
It's like I feel like
So
it's like the latest iPhone model. It's like every like the other thing is still out there existing, and
Yeah.
everyone, whoever owns it, everyone's battery is like garbage at this point. It is now tainted, the product. But this new product that costs even more, hey,
Yeah.
is gonna be a little bit better.
Just
Marginally, it's gonna be marginally better. Like,
oh, I hope I don't
the
get
other
fired.
thing still is there and still exists, and it's still gonna be bothering a lot of people. But this new thing right here, if you can afford it, it's like marginally better in a way that if we didn't tell you about it, you wouldn't even notice.
I wonder who will do it first. Like any other Android companies, be it Google or Samsung or Apple, where it's like let's use Apple for example. It's like iPhone 300. This will be the last iPhone ever. Like that, I'm getting that phone. If they make a 301, I don't
Well,
want it.
no, because then after that, it'll become the Apple phone. Like, they'll stop making that model. It'll be the last iPhone ever.
That's a you. I like the spin on that. That's a good like. Yeah, that was the last one. We're just taking it. We're rebooting it.
But yes,
But
so
yeah, so
it's just crazy.
it's basically this is like false advertisement, or
Yes.
there's another word for it, but
It's not
I'm using that as
necessarily like false. It's just like it's almost
it's
misleading.
like it's yes, that's the word I was looking for. It's misleading. You're saying, yeah, we're gonna do this. We know it's bad, but hey, we're better than those guys. So and so let me get to this part as well. So the politics of this decision. Biden's decision pits Alaska lawmakers against environmental groups and many Democrats in Congress who say the project is out of step with the goals of slashing the planet's warming emissions in half by 2030. So it's not in my little notes here, but when I was going through the article, there was a line that where they said, yeah, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna put like some sort of restrictions to help further that cause. But it's like
Hmm.
you're still destroying the planet as you're trying to fix the problem. You can't. It's kind of like you can't have was it you can't have a cake and eat it or
Yeah, you
have a
can't have your cake and eat it too.
so in this grand scheme of things you really can't. You're just destroying the planet thinking you can save it. Like it's there's what's the point of that?
You're still
So
destroying, but you're highlighting this like factoid that would possibly get people to give you some slack. That's really what it is.
yeah,
Like, nothing is changing. Like, this is still a huge detriment to the environment.
yeah.
But you just happen to put forward this one buzzworthy fact of like, hey, we're gonna be better by 8%, but
Yeah,
is it
I
really
think
better?
having seen this news, it's very upsetting because I don't stay closely to politic news, but
Hmm.
when Biden became president, I always saw it as the lesser evil, but still
Yeah.
unevil. Um, I don't even want to say necessary because it's not necessary.
Hmm.
I'm happy a lot of companies, especially Apple. Like I may like talk shit about Apple sometimes, but they're trying, and me being a person inside in the retail level where I am fixing phones to the T, where it's not simply replacing phones. We're trying to replace every component. So
Yeah.
they're not wasting these components. Because when I started there, this was 6 years ago, I used to replace phones
Hmm.
for certain things. But now it's like, for example, like you have the 10R, right?
Yeah.
And you have the front facing camera. So like that, if that ever failed on the phone, at some point we just replaced the phone because there was no part for that.
Hmm.
Now we can actually replace that part. So that we're saving that phone because that customer is still with that phone. We're not wasting a phone, and basically damaging the environment. Again, I don't follow too closely to politics. I don't know the ins and outs of Apple. I always hear the jokes, rumors about the child labor stuff. I don't stick closely to that. But from what I'm seeing, what the companies tell me, even if I didn't work for them, I would like to believe that they're trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Um, and they're saying also a lot of companies, I don't know what this thing is, but by 2030, I think they're trying to ruin the planet by 2030 and then
And
start going
then
fine.
and then start going
It's
backwards.
very odd to me. because it's like, let's get our money now before 2030 we stop
Yeah,
doing these things.
before we hit the point of no return.
But I hope a lot of these companies work faster on that.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the government, and a lot, and they always talk about the world governments, but specifically the U.S., it's not. I feel like they're not doing the most compared to
No,
other countries.
not even close.
Um,
We're
I
one of the
see other
biggest
countries.
offenders.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I believe top 10.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know where
sure.
we are, but I know we're closer to one.
Yeah, yeah. No, we're a huge. We're a huge offender. And yeah, our emissions are terrible. We don't put enough emphasis on public transport, even though we have a pretty robust public transportation in some metro areas. We don't put a big enough emphasis on it. We don't put a big enough emphasis on like cutting emissions. You know, it's very like public news that the electric car, solar powered car, and what
Say
I
what you
think
want
it was
about Elon
the
Musk, but
hydrogen engine. Like all of these things
yeah,
have been like publicly snuffed out and pushed down so that they didn't have to worry about it and they can still push fossil fuels for the time being. You know, electric cars have been
mm,
making a massive comeback within the past like decade and a half, but other things
mm,
like, I think Ford is the one that had the patent on like the hydro engine. The big issue with the hydro engine being like it was, I believe, like nuclear powered or something. Um, but these things exist, right? The solar power car, the electric car. Like if we would have put them out and put the what is it, the research into these things when they came about and had them evolve over time in the
yeah,
same way that like cars and other technology have evolved, we would be in a better place. But
yeah.
companies, lobbyists, they've hampered these things so that it's kind of kept out of the public view and not given the enough research until recently. And now we're trying to play catch up, and it does really feel like we're gonna it's like going on a diet. I feel like we set this day when we're gonna go onto the diet and start hitting the gym. So before then, it's all cheat meals. It's all cheat meals and garbage
That's a great example.
until we hit that day, and then once that day hits, it's like, all right, time to be a better person. And it kind of sucks when you look at it that way. It's a very reductionary way to look at it, but that's how it feels. For someone that looks at this stuff, it feels like that's what most companies are doing.
America, or sorry, again, I like to say the United States. The United States is gonna get that heart attack in 2030.
Yeah, man.
That's what it
Let's
sounds
hope
like.
not. But speaking of heart attacks and offending the world on a global level, Hidden Valley Ranch. I know this was a whiplash of a segue. Hidden Valley Ranch is coming out with their own ice cream. Well, with their own ice cream flavor, I should say.
What you say?
So, in celebration of National Ranch Day, which exists, just in case you missed it, it was March 10th, same day as Mario
Mhm.
Day. So National Ranch
That's
Day,
what I knew.
they announced a collaboration with Brooklyn-based ice cream parlor Van Leeuwen.
Mm.
Leeuwen? Whatever it is. So it's a limited edition. These pints are going to be sold at select Walmart stores nationwide, and it is ranch. It's ranch flavored. If that offends you,
So
welcome to the club.
I, initial thoughts are like, ew, ranch, like in ice cream form, because my assumption is you literally take the ranch and freeze it. It's obviously more complicated than
Yes,
that.
they didn't do that.
From
Yeah.
the quick glance that I did when I first heard of it yesterday, um, there was the use of butter. Like I saw the ingredients like buttermilk and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
then it
it's
makes me think
it's ice cream. It's just like
it's
flavored with
ice cream.
ranch.
Yeah, like my first thoughts were chicken and waffles. Like you have sweet and savory, and
Okay.
that's what they're going for. I'm not saying this is going to be the best tasting. I'm just telling people we're not trying to bash companies and stuff like that. Definitely, if you're one of those people that like to try things, I'm the person that likes to try things. I won't go out of my way to try that. I'm not a ranch person, but don't make fun of it, or make fun of it, but don't
I'm
bash
gonna
it because I'm
I'm gonna
sure it
keep
would.
making fun of it.
One, yeah, keep making fun of it. Um, I Either it's gonna take the world by storm, or it's just gonna flop.
Well, ranch is one of
And
those
you
things
gotta
that
let the
have.
product. Yeah.
No, go ahead, continue.
Now I was gonna say you gotta let the product do its job. Make it could fall or not.
Yeah, I was just gonna say ranch is one of those random things that has like a cult following for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
you know,
commercials are wild too.
commercials are wild. You know, they get weird with it. People like comedians like Eric Andre. He's one of his like classic bits is ranch it up, and like he does like these wild things with ranch. Um,
Okay.
but it memeified itself, and then they embraced it. And doing things like this kind of helps push that pop culture affiliation. It reminds me of
Yeah.
like in the what early aughts before maybe around the 2010s also. So no, it was probably closer to that era around like the
Mhm.
2010s where like everything was bacon. Do you remember
Uh,
that?
Epic Mealtime.
Yeah, Epic Mealtime, and
It
then
was
like
like the when Epic Mealtime was like going out,
yeah,
but
and like
bacon was like at its height.
everything was bacon. Like you could buy bacon flavored, like bacon scented band aids at one point, like bacon
Didn't know
flavored
that.
gum. Like everything was bacon. Everything. It was ridiculous. But going back to this whole ranch thing, it will be available. It will be on sale starting March 20th. It goes from 20th to the 28th to May 28th. It'll be available at 3,500 Walmart stores nationwide for the low price of $4.98. So,
With tax.
yeah, plus tax
Um,
depending on whichever state you're in.
it's one of those things. So it's gonna be limited, but I
Yeah.
wonder. I know there's gonna be those people. Just they're not ranch collectors. They're just collectors. They're the Pokemon trainers of the Pokemon world, but in our reality, the collectors,
Yeah.
um, or the collector from Marvel. They're just gonna get it, put it in their freezer, 50 years later, and be like, I still got it,
Mhm.
just to brag.
Mhm. And we'll
It's
see,
tasty, but
another part of our great society is reselling, right? We will see people buy this up. There'll be resellers that'll go to the store, clear it out, and they will resell this thing for an insane markup. And guess what? People are going to buy it. So,
hmm
like that'll be a thing. Prepare yourselves, my friends, to hear the reseller horror stories of ranch flavored ice cream. So, moving on to another sort of like horror story, CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, has announced that Meta will lay off an additional 10,000 employees and 5,000
and
open
from where?
roles. So not only are they getting rid of 10,000 employees, they're also getting rid of 5,000 open roles that they had in the company. So this is a part of Zuckerberg's like year of efficiency plan. We had touched up
Yeah.
on this not too long ago. Multiple companies, including Google, have been doing these like massive swaths of layoffs, like in the
Mm.
thousands, some tens of thousands, because what we're speculating is that a lot of it comes from overhiring during the pandemic era to try to like make sure things are set up correctly so they can continue to run. But now we've hit this plateau where we now can function properly and still like go on, and we a lot of these things are just redundant. So now these companies are doing these massive layoffs. But what sucks is bigger companies like this, they're laying off, like I said, in the tens of thousands. So they are readily already had announced 11,000 layoffs. So this is
Yeah.
on top of that. So it's an additional 10.
That's wild to me because like I've been seeing a lot of advertisement promotions on Meta and the metaverse. Like I remember one that stuck out to me. and I saw this one multiple times. They're like, yeah, people think AR or VR is about just gaming and in the future, but we're trying to get it installed into our normal day to day lives. And they show like a
Yeah.
firefighter with AR, seeing like how far the fire is, seeing the I was like, that is dope. I love that. And then recently, I just saw Kiki Palmer playing a VR, a test pilot for an Iron Man game where you feel like you're Iron Man, and it's nothing crazy. Like the
Yeah.
graphics are still good, but it's like she's flying, she's moving her right arm, she's moving her left arm. There's certain things that she can do, and I was like, oh, cool. And I just saw this today, so just I don't know, that doesn't match with what's going on. But then it's again, you said it, like you hit the head on the nail, where it's like, um, it's most definitely from the pandemic. It's just these oversaturated, basically oversaturated with these people.
Yeah.
My hope is, like you said, with Google, they're taking care of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got into
I
the weeds of
haven't.
that, but
I
yeah, I
haven't
know with
seen.
Google.
I haven't seen anything in terms of taking care of these people. Like, I guess beyond whatever their contracts stipulate, like with the severance and stuff. But
Oh, unless it's contracted, that's a different story. You're
I
right.
mean, yeah, I have no idea. So a quote from Zuckerberg says, "A leaner organization will execute its highest priorities faster. People will be more
Mm,
productive, and their work will be more fun and fulfilling. We will become an even greater magnet for the most talented people. That's why in our year of efficiency, which is what he's dubbing 2023, why
mm-hmm.
in our year of efficiency, we are focused on canceling projects that are duplicative or lower priority and making every organization as lean as possible." So,
Just cutting the fat.
cutting the fat, yeah, basically. That's really what it is. And you can't fault these people, but at the same time, like you said a couple of seconds ago, we hope that they're taking care of these employees in the correct way.
Mm.
So, moving on from that, a little bit lighter news, we have some news from the Oscars. So
Woo.
we're gonna hit some of the highlights here. Let me just pull this up because it looks like whatever I had is actually gone now. I don't know why. That's super weird. But so speaking, we're gonna highlight some of the winners, and we're also gonna talk about some of the like I don't like to say the word drama, but some of the things that have come out about it. So
That's
one of the biggest things was Brendan Fraser taking home Best Actor for his
yep.
performance in the Whale. So I feel like that is a surprise to absolutely no one. Um, like
Agreed.
this is something where they've been talking about it for legitimately, I don't even know. I guess like the better half of like a year
Yeah,
because
it's all they talk about.
yeah, it's all like movie news has been talking about. This was a return to form for Brendan Fraser. He delivered a very touching speech. I don't know if you got to hear it, Jay, but it
No,
was
I didn't. I
yeah.
remember when it was. I had it saved somewhere too, but yeah, I
No,
remember.
I'm talking about at the Oscars. He delivered a touching like
Oh, I thought you meant the
acceptance
other one.
speech.
No, I didn't.
No, no,
I
no. He
didn't see
no.
that, but I'll definitely check that out when I can.
Yeah, it was really really nice. He spoke about one of the first things he said is like, "This is what the multiverse looks like," which it's like he never expected to to be holding that Oscar. It's the most
Yeah.
quote unquote prestigious one, and he got it, and he was incredibly happy. He thanked his family and all that. He kind of recapped his time in the industry. It was, he said that things came very easily to him in the beginning, and then, he took that for granted, and then he stopped receiving roles. He got hurt, and then his whole life really changed. And, his relationship with acting and with the movie industry changed because of his physical condition as well. So it was very heartfelt. It was extremely touching, and he deserved that and more. It was great to see him finally get that not that he hasn't been getting the validation, but to get that validation at that level.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. As you were saying that, I immediately thought this, and I've been saying this to a lot of people and lately. Uh, Not saying he hit rock bottom, um, but he hit his version of rock bottom, or what I don't want to, and I don't want to use that word in a negative way, but it transformed him,
Yes.
and he's able to become a better version of himself. Um, and it's not like I've ever said anything or seen anything bad from him. Growing up, he was one of our he was our Iron Man growing up. Like he was in everything.
Yeah.
And he was fighting mummies before it was like a thing. Like that was our guy. He was in the jungle running in Jordans. Like that is our what our heroes growing up. So he definitely deserved this. Um when I don't know where he was doing before. Um what's that show that he's on
Doom Patrol.
yeah. When I heard that he was voicing that robot, I forget the name. I
I
was
don't
like,
remember.
in my inner self was like, something will become of this. I didn't even think he was gonna go for it and get an Oscar. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is him coming back,
Yeah.
and you got to start somewhere. And I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but Encino Man with uh the why am I don't want to
Pauly
mispronounce. Do you
Shore.
have the name? No, the best supporting
Oh,
male
the
actor
oh my
in
god,
that movie.
I can never remember like how to pronounce his name.
It's
He's
like
from Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was also Short
yes.
Round in Indiana Jones.
So they were like they were almost being forgotten, and look at them now.
Both of them, yeah.
Like
So
they
it's Ki
Ki
Hu
Hugh Kwan.
Ki Hu Kwan. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they were in a movie that were like one of their last, not really Fraser's last, but one of their last films where they're just gonna get into this forgotten realm. And not to sound corny, but here they are rising like a phoenix or phoenix.
Phoenixes.
Phoenix.
Phoenixes. But yeah, no, you know, they fade these some of these childhood or younger actors, they fade into obscurity, right? Just because the roles dry up. For Ki Hu Kwan,
Ki Hui Kwan.
that one. For him, he actually stood in the movie industry and he was a fight choreographer in a couple of different big projects. You know, he was
Oh yeah,
behind.
was it Blade?
I think it was Blade, but he had done a couple of them and he was more so
Yeah.
behind the scenes. Brendan Fraser working on small things and maybe having cameo appearances. The only things I remember between like you know after his the Mummy franchise died down, with the third one not being that great, but um, after that, you know, he had cameo appearances in Scrubs, and then in the
Hmm.
first GI Joe movie, Rise of Cobra.
Hmm.
And then I didn't see anything with him until Doom Patrol. And you know,
Yeah.
you kind of get that smile. It's like, oh, it's Brendan Fraser, and I think I kind of had the same thing that you did, Jay, where it was like, I hope this is a return to form for him. Like, I hope something comes from this. And to see
Yeah.
him a couple years later, he's you know at this the pinnacle. He's at the top of the mountain here, and technically in the twilight of his career, right? The Whale is an indie
Hmm. Yeah.
movie. The Whale wasn't like, you know, this big AAA production that's getting plastered in every AMC. So it's insane to see, you know, the tour de force that he is and you know what he brought to this film and how it connected with a lot of people. It's fantastic. So
Yeah.
really quickly, I'm gonna run through these the major awards. Best Picture went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Um, Also, they broke the record. They are now officially the most awarded movie of all time, which is pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah.
So,
38 days to film it, and look what they did.
and another indie movie. Technically, it's A24.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty wild that that's you know that's a thing. For directing, Daniel
Big production
Kwan
trip
and
US.
Daniel Shiner for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Actor in leading role, just like I said, Brendan Fraser for The Whale. He was nominated alongside Austin Butler for Elvis, which is primo. Colin Farrell for The Banshee of Inisherin, whatever. Paul Mescal for
In
Aftersun,
Sharon.
and Bill Nighy for Living. Actress in a leading role, which is something. Oh no, it's not this one. It's the next one. Actress in the leading role went to Michelle Yeoh, right?
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She was up against Kate Blanchett for Tar, Anna de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, and Michelle Williams for The Fablemans. Actor in a supporting role went to Ki Hu Kwan.
Wait.
Quay. Quay? Ki Hui Kwan, right? There we go. For Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. He was up against Barry Koenig for the Banshee of That Other Thing, Judd Hirsch in The Fablemans, Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway, and Brendan Gleeson in The Banshee of That Thing. Actress in a supporting role. This is another one that kind of had the internet buzzing here. It went to Jamie Lee Curtis for her role in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Now, the thing that kind of caught people's attention was Angela Bassett's reaction. Now,
It was the first thing I noticed when I watched it live too. I was like, oh, and then I knew the internet was gonna go crazy.
so I actually didn't even watch it live, but I saw
Mm.
this like a couple hours later. So she didn't handle it, I guess, the most gracefully, right? Like she didn't clap, she didn't smile, she didn't get up. Like typically when somebody wins, you kind of show that support. You could tell Angela Bassett wanted the award. That's it.
Yeah.
Now,
Um.
well, what were you gonna say, Jay? Good.
Yeah. I was gonna agree with you. Like, if I want something, definitely clap, get up. I know I'm not gonna like it, but still, you don't. Cameras are evolving every time. They're gonna catch everything. But we can get into who deserved it and who didn't. I'll
And
just say now, definitely deserved it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but I think it should have went to the other Asian. I forget Stephanie something.
Stephanie Sue.
Yeah, it should have went to her in my opinion. But if we were
Why?
to, and because um, I just think she was on screen more than Jamie Lee Curtis,
Okay.
and I know that when it comes to the Oscars, not to get super off tangent, but when it comes to the Oscars, it's very political.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not like right wing or left wing, meaning Jamie Lee Curtis has been in the game longer. I get it. She deserves it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Like she's a One Piece fan. She's already has a place in my heart. But it should have been Stephanie or Angela Bassett. Especially if the whole point is talking about diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I should have went to those two.
Well, I
In
guess
my
when
opinion.
when talking about performance, like out of those three, who do you think's performance was the
Yeah,
best?
honest, no, but when it comes to performance, I think they were all great. But my heart goes to Stephanie. And
Okay.
then again, because of the politicalness of the Oscars, it's kind of like it's not Stephanie's time yet. She has time. She's gonna get older. She's still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
She's just starting out, and that's how I see it.
Okay.
And I had this discussion with one of my colleagues. So I will always choose Stephanie,
Yeah.
but when it comes to diversity, it should have been either her or Angela Bassett. And I'm not saying Jamie Lee Curtis didn't deserve it. I
Mm-hmm.
just think with all eyes on the Oscars and when it comes to the evolution of it. But then look, she is a woman as well, so it's not just because she's just white. She definitely deserves that. So it is a nuanced thing. Now to say it should have went to Angela Bassett because she's like honestly to get nominated for a Marvel movie, that
That's
is
fantastic.
that is no one can do that, and she did it. So I'll say that.
And so I've gone back and forth on this. Like I think, and I forget the actress's name, but the actress who plays Shuri in Black Panther, I think she should have been nominated for lead actress number one.
Wait, Shuri?
Yeah.
For Best Actress.
Yes. Not for leading. I'm saying. I mean, not for supporting. I'm saying for leading actress. I think she should have been nominated.
And remind me who were, because I don't know who the best
Okay,
leading roles.
so the actress in a leading role was Kate Blanchett, Anna de Armas, Andrea Riseborough, Michelle Williams, and Michelle Yeoh. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I think
Should have been in the running.
she should have been in the running. Honestly, from what I've seen and what I've heard, I would have kicked Anna de Armas to the side and brought in the actress that played Shuri. I
But then that
forget
goes with what I'm saying. It's kind of like even if she was in the running, it would have been like it's not her time
exactly.
because
But
it's an
now
age thing
coming
or how
back
long you've been.
coming back to the supporting role thing, Angela Bassett's role was fantastic. Now, in reality, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe because we're so used to Angela Bassett being really, really good in her roles, I can't say that it stood out to me. For, like, getting this nomination was fantastic. I don't want to take it away from her by any means. But to me, I don't think it really stood out because she's always at that level of greatness. Like,
Yeah,
I don't, it wasn't a standout
yeah.
performance, in my opinion.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
But when it comes down to Jamie Lee Curtis winning, I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I
But
thought you did. I
I
don't know why I
have no, I
thought.
haven't seen it yet. But I've heard amazing things. Um, I can understand why Stephanie, in your opinion, why Stephanie should have gotten it. I could totally understand that. But what rubbed me the wrong way on the internet is
Yes,
once Jamie Lee Curtis won, now people, and it really bothers me when this happens,
specifically people of color.
and that's the thing, and it sucks because we get into this mob mentality. So people of color immediately were like, Angela Bassett army, get ready. And it's like, no, man, like, she didn't win. I'm sorry to say she did not win. Get over it. It's not fair to then go attack somebody else who also had a stellar performance and take
Oh,
away
100%.
their accolade just because you feel like the other person won. Dude, that's the nature of award shows. That's the nature of reality. Some people can and some people cannot win.
Yeah. And if
Now,
we had, and again, because it's the mob mentality of the internet, and it's internet is a beast in itself. If there was a place, and there is a place, it's called the internet. If there was a place to have discourse and have them, I'm like, why should he win? Other than the fact of her skin color, and you said it earlier, she's always at that level. When I saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever had its ups and downs. It's not a perfect movie. It wasn't my favorite movie, but that scene in the UN was my favorite scene of hers. People says the one where she's saying how she lost her family. That I get the emotion behind it, but to me, we see in our reality, just kind of going off tangent into a reality now, we see that women of color losing their sons or husbands because of the white supremacy, and I'm just encapsulating all that
yeah,
because of all those things, and the families are always broken. I wanted to see a strong woman in power hold it together, and she showed it, and she was able to emote that so well in the UN scene. Yes, her scene where she's talking about how she's losing her family is very powerful, and a lot of people talk about that. But we should always try to rise up and see that she's able to hold her own and stay strong. Talking about the character, and then also behind the scenes, Angela Bassett bringing that. She will always be at a high level. She will never get downplayed to it because she could be in a whack movie, Rotten Tomatoes -100, and still give her best. She may not get nominated because of how trash the movie is. Doesn't mean
yeah,
she's trash. And but the
exactly.
thing is, people are such a reactive mentality, like you're saying, is just like, no, Jamie Lee Curtis should have won. It should have been Angela Bassett because in there, it's not. It's definitely in the subconscious because she's black. Again, personally, for me, it should have been Stephanie. I don't agree with the ideal or the idea of, oh, it's not her time, because for me she was on screen more than Jamie Lee Curtis,
Hmm.
and she definitely delivered in a
Yeah,
lot of her scenes. Um, And when you see it, hopefully you see it soon. We can have that discussion on if your opinion is different than mine. And again, Jamie Lee Curtis deserves it. She's been in the game longer. She's never been a bad actress.
And
I
here's the
love
other
seeing her
thing.
on
This
the
was her
screen.
first
She
Oscar
makes me
win.
happy yeah, she makes me happy when I see her on screen. So I'm like, she's doing something.
Yeah.
So, and in the movie, she did her job. Like she on this, if anything, close to Angela Ballas or the same,
Mm-hmm.
just different skin colors at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Both women, like the fact that women are finally just taking more roles, perfect.
And that's the thing. Right? We can't overlook the fact that there these are good problems, I guess, right? Like we're talking about
I hear what
we're talking about women being recognized in this industry and getting an award. Like that's a good problem to kind of like have discourse
back then we
over.
were not.
You know, like and now we're kind of nitpicking the fans' reactions. So
Yeah.
it's just because the internet, everyone has a voice when technically everyone probably shouldn't have a voice. Like in reality, like yes,
Yeah.
everyone deserves freedom of speech and all that, but sometimes
It's like, think
wires
about
get
it.
crossed and then it becomes, like I keep saying, this mom mentality. So
Think about it. Like, we're gonna have our initial reactions, but think
yeah,
about it.
exactly. Think about things before you just, shoot off, right? But, congratulations to Jamie
Oh
Lee.
no, like, but you're no. I mean, like, have your initial reaction, but don't voice it because it can come out the wrong way.
Yeah.
Tell your friend that's next to you. Then you argue. You think about it. You mull it over before you put it on the internet, which will stay forever.
And the
When you
other thing
become
is
president,
like,
you're gonna be like racist.
yeah, it'll stay on the internet forever. No one could retone through text. So like any nuance is completely lost. Like really take the time to dissect how you're feeling before blurting out strong opinions as well into the internet where people can latch on and then, kind of spiral into like not necessarily hate, but sometimes it can be hate, but this is kind of like it's upsetting. Just because the person you wanted to win didn't win, now it looks like it becomes a racial issue when in reality it's not. It's not a racial issue. And, these fans are rallying and coming to the aid of Angela Bassett where like there's no real aid that needs to come to her. She just didn't
Yeah,
win an award. And she lost the
yeah.
award to another competent actor. Like it's not like they gave the award to freaking iCarly. Like that didn't happen. It's they gave the award
And
to
then I think at that point you would say it'd be a racial issue. But then again, and you said it again, it's easy to pick out a racial issue because we know what it is.
yeah.
It's easy to say anything is a racial issue when it's probably not. Be careful when you. I don't know if this will end our little conversation, but be careful when you say things are racist. Sometimes we say it jokingly, like, "Huh, that's
Yeah.
racist." Like, and people can be racist to other people, depending how far or deep the word goes. There is prejudice that's real. People of color can be racist to white people, but not into the
Yes.
extent of like systemic racism, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah, no, you're right. Like systemic racism doesn't exist against
it
white
doesn't
people. Like it
exactly.
doesn't. Racism can be a thing towards any race, but systemic racism affects people of color and not necessarily white people. And that's factual.
The more you know. We need this.
So moving on, we have a lot more movie news to get into.
Yes.
First
Good
thing up,
news.
we're gonna give a teeny tiny mini review of Creed 3.
Perfection. Next. That's how many
Just
I
straight
review
up
was.
perfection. That's it.
Yes. The I'll give you the mini review. Yeah. So I came out of that theater saying perfection.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see it with my
Which
wife.
is true. You
Yeah.
did text that. You did literally text the word
I did.
perfection.
My cousin was there. We all know they both fight in the movie, so that's not a spoiler.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that? I was sitting there, and look, what is it? We're in winter.
Yeah.
It's theaters are theaters are meant to regulate temperature
Yes.
in the theater room. I went to see it in IMAX, so it's a big area, dude. Watching that fight, I was sweating. I turned to my cousin. I'm like, "Are you sweating?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, it's not just me, bro." Intense. The use of anime reference, not cheesy. Like people can do anime references
Mm-hmm.
and be bad at it, but I don't think every time I see anime references on live action, give or take, I think they've been pretty good. But you can do cheesy live action anime
Did they
references.
do like the
The
his
his power
power
is
level?
overnight.
Yeah, that one.
The the 10-second monologue, but it's actually been
Yes.
like a split second. No, if they did that, then I would have been like, we need
Okay.
to dissect this movie.
Gotcha.
But no, it's just the references were more visual, like, and it
Okay.
was in trailers too. But again, I avoid trailers, and there were some scenes, and it came up online. There were reference, like the obviously, and he said in interviews, anime is definitely an influence to the movie, and you
Mm-hmm.
see it. And this is not a spoiler, but it's a blink and you'll miss it. So I'll tell you now. In the beginning of the movie, it takes place in the past. Creed is in his room. In the background, you see a Gundam like
Alright.
figure, like the one you put together. It's
Yeah.
the red Astra Gundam, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Because I have the blue one, and my
Mm-hmm.
cousin has the red one. So I was like, yo, you peep that? So like that's it's not really an anime reference, but it is. It's like an in-world anime reference.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But they were visual, like the ones that were obvious and were in the trailers were the Dragon Ball ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know me, I'm a big fan of Hajime no Ippo, one of the sports anime, highly referenced in there.
I
Highly like
mean,
if
yeah.
for those out there, yeah, and it had to be. If you didn't, it's like it's an MMO, massive missed opportunity for those listening. Um, as a fan, any fans of the Hajime no Ippo, the fighting, if you've seen everything, all anime, unless you're still reading the manga, you will notice and pick out every detail. I even picked out Jonathan Major's character Dane. His shorts are not shorts; it's a skirt.
Yeah.
It's kind of and in the anime, one of the like antagonists has a skirt, and I was like, he is the antagonist of the movie. I was like, perfect fighting style, same thing. I was like, perfect, perfection. Um, it's hard to separate as a fan of like a Creed movie or the Creed franchise, and then as an anime fan, it's hard to separate and be like, let me take a step back. Um, but I don't know. Probably I can't take a step back because it was perfection to me.
Mm-hmm.
It again, we know how this movie goes. I don't want to just give the details because there's some heart wrenching stuff in there. Um, the one thing that it's not nitpicky, it doesn't lose points for it. I just wish it was an added thing. It could be a deleted scene. They don't mention anything about Rocky. Like he's mentioned, like Rocky, the name is thrown around in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't say where he's not written off. He's like what happened to him.
No,
I
they
knew,
probably wouldn't just because of like respect.
yeah, because I remember there was like two articles. One in the early beginning, like they were like he's not going to be a part of the new
Yeah.
one because he just want to give like hand it off. And then later on, like a couple weeks ago, I read an article saying he was like tight about it. And I was like, okay, those are two
Yeah.
different. That's two
So
different feelings.
apparently it wasn't his decision, right? Because he
Okay,
he no longer. I think he owns the character Rocky
Rocky.
Balboa, but he doesn't own the film rights to that
That makes a lot of sense.
to like the
So
other characters and stuff. So
yeah,
he was like, he stepped away because he didn't think that there should have been another one. Michael B. Jordan wanted to do another one. The studio wanted to do another one, so they allowed that to happen. And because
yeah,
of Michael B. Jordan's respect for Sylvester Stallone, he kind of like was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry. Like I'm going to move forward, but I won't like touch anything. Like he won't
yeah.
touch
I think
anything prior. You know."
I think and again, Coogler, I don't know if he was the scriptwriter, but he was definitely a part of the major part of the
Yeah.
story and the executive producer, I believe, executive or producer. But if I was writing the movie, again, this could have been cut out, maybe to even make it to film.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, oh, he's trying to spend more time with his son. And that would have been a
Yeah.
nice little throwaway line. It's one line. Maybe that line is just too much. Again, they've said his name in the movie
Yeah.
many times. So it's like, well, not many times, but it's said. So I just wish that kind of ties and wraps it up, because in the last movie, I believe he had cancer, or was the movie before? I forget. Rocky had he was battling cancer in one of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't say he died. I think it would have been more touching if he spent more time with his son, because that was always a reoccurring issue in all of the Rocky movies. So that makes a lot of sense to me. But again, I'm not nitpicking. I just wish that was thrown in there to kind of wrap up Rocky's thing.
Okay.
But other than that, perfection.
That's great. So, speaking of perfection, we got the final trailer to I was gonna say Super Smash Brothers.
Smash Bros.
To the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So Nintendo did a mini direct. I guess last week at this point.
Yeah.
They did a mini direct, and it showed like I said, the final trailer was a full trailer. They had everyone in the direct. They had the head of Illumination. They also had the different cast members. Chris Pratt, Charlie Day, Keegan Michael Key, Seth Rogen, Jack Black, and Anya Taylor-Joy. Anya Taylor-Joy. I always thought it was Anya, but I found out in this direct that it's Anya. So
she says it, or
everyone addresses her as Anya. But
I wonder how she says it, because you don't want another Raven Simone where she's like, it's Simone Ye.
It's Simone Ye. But
I'm not kind of come for her, but it's like it's been a long time.
But in the trailer, we got a more detailed look at Rainbow Road. We even got like a blink and you miss it moment of the cart selection. It mimics the cart selection of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. In the beginning portion of the trailer, we got to look at some other like mini characters that are going to be in there. We got to look at Aluma, which is like a star buddy type thing, who's like incredibly like it's not like sadistic, but it's like he's just like super down, but he's happy about it. Like he's talking about like how they're all gonna die, but he has this happy like friendly tone going on.
That's weird. I think I know what you mean. That's funny.
So we had one of those. We got to see them on Rainbow Road, and in a section of the movie that is heavily Mario Kart, we see Mario kind of driving the cart for the first time and using some power-ups, but in a realistic way. So you see his cart get destroyed, he jumps to a Koopa cart, knocks on the Koopa, takes the shell, and then throws it back to another cart. So it's like fun. They made it work in universe. We also got to see Donkey Kong taking the Fire Flower power-up. So that was really cool. He turns like red and white, like his fur, and then he's able to use the power-up. We got to see, I'm trying to remember little things, Cranky Kong. We had seen him in a blink and you miss it moment in the full trailer, but this time we actually saw him driving a vehicle. We actually have a little bit more news later on in the video game section about this. But yeah, it was super cool, very fun, and it included absolutely everyone. It was beautiful. I loved it. We got to see longer visuals of each of the characters, and I'm chomping at the bit. It comes out in April. I need it. I need it in my veins now. Yes. So, also as a little bit of an honorable mention, the same day that, I guess it was the next day, or
it could have been the 10th.
I think it was the 10th. So Red Wing Shoes, the construction shoe, right? They do construction shoe like boots. That company recreated the boots that Mario wears in the movie. They made a real life version, and it's actually on display right now in the Nintendo world. They're not for sale. They're on
Oh,
display. It's one of a kind. On display at the Nintendo World location at New York City. So if anyone in New York wants to go check them out, please do. Uh, so next trailer that we're gonna speak on, we got a full trailer for Disney's live action remake of The Little Mermaid. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
yeah. I saw. Supposedly it came out before the Oscars, but I saw it during the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
It looked good. Like as it was starting, I was like, it's opening up the same way like the
Yep.
teaser. I was like, it still needs. I feel like what they're showing us is just like they copied and pasted the teaser and they just like put in the new stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, this it's a little the same. It doesn't
It's
seem
just a
improved.
fleshed out
But then when they
teaser.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
in the
when
beginning.
they get to like, I was like, oh, like the cinematography, the CGI looks better. So I assumed that portion was copy and paste because it did not look good.
Yeah.
The rest of the the trailer looks really good. Like again, it's not Avatar. Again, I didn't see Avatar yet.
It's not.
But it looks really good.
Yeah.
I liked Melissa McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to like. I didn't hate Ursula in the cartoon. I was just like, oh, she needs to lose. So it's weird to feel this way in a live action with Melissa McCarthy because I really like Melissa McCarthy, but I don't know. I just have to see the movie and see how I feel.
I think she'll play a
How,
good bad guy.
yeah, like it's a first for me, so
Yeah.
I'm curious. Halle Bailey looks great.
Yep.
I in the back of my head, the internet is just being racist. I forgot who was gonna be the prince. I was like, oh, I think it's gonna be an Asian guy, and I saw a white guy, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
because then I think Gabby was like, oh, I think they're trying to do like the Cinderella, where the Disney version of Cinderella, where it was what's this girl's name? The Black Cinderella. You know who I'm talking about.
That wasn't. That was
The
Brandy.
Disney Brandy, yes. I thought they were doing something like that where the prince would be Asian. But when I saw like I have no problem with it being a white guy. I just
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be that. Um, it would have been like a really, really small nod slash reach to Cinderella if they were doing that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I have no expectation because Disney's on their reboot slash revamping Disney classics, so it's gonna be good or not.
Yeah. For this one, I feel like we've gotten lukewarm stuff. I was a fan of Aladdin, but I can't say it was absolutely amazing. Yeah, they all of them have had pretty mixed reviews. The what was it? Lion King flopped pretty hard, even though the visuals were great. Um, I'm looking forward to it, and honestly, I feel like this one has no room to fail. Like they can't fail, because if they do, then it'll look like they didn't give it enough representation with all the stuff that has been going on with Haley Bailey, right?
Halle Bailey.
Halle
It's like Halle
Bailey.
Berry. But
I
Halle Bailey.
keep that's what trips me up
I
is
always
Halle
mess up.
Berry. So with Halle Bailey, yeah, got it. With Halle Bailey, all the unfortunate issues going on with her and like people's reactions, they need to give this a 200% push. Like they need to,
Especially when you casted her.
yeah,
Especially if you casted her.
they
100%, 200%.
they gotta push it. They have to make sure the movie is next to flawless.
Yeah.
Like it can't be a situation with like Pinocchio, right? It came out to Disney Plus. People had high hopes because Tom Hanks was in it. The Pinocchio itself looked good, and then the movie was freaking trash fire.
And just
So
random side tangent. But Guillermo del Toro won for that too.
yes, for
So
his
still
stop
need to see
motion
that.
Pinocchio, but so there is no room for them to mess up. Like they need to push this character. They need to push this film. They need to be 200% behind it in every way possible. So
It has to be passionate as well, not
yes,
manufactured. It's
exactly.
something where you can clearly see if something's manufactured or not. So a good example for the listeners, especially if you're not super into film, look at the beginning of the Avengers franchise or the
Mm-hmm.
MCU versus now. You can see
Yes.
what's manufactured. So,
Yeah, it needs like you said, it needs to come from a place of passion. Um, and it needs to be shown on the screen. That passion needs to be shown. I enjoyed the casting. You know, we got glimpses of Aquafina as Scuttle, the seagull. We got Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. We heard Flounder, but he wasn't in the trailer. We saw this guy as King Triton. What's his name?
Wow, I know who you're talking about. I'm gonna look it up. We'll
He's
continue.
Spanish.
Javier Bardem.
Javier
It
Bardem.
came to me. I
Yes,
started looking.
Javier Bardem as King Triton, and then we also got who plays um
Fashion. I mean,
Sebastian, because we heard
it's
we
someone like you know too.
yeah, I
Like
know it's
it's
someone we know too. We saw and heard him in there. So so far all good things. I have no qualms about it. I hope that it keeps going forward and keeps looking good.
David Diggs.
David Diggs, yes. So we got to see him
For those who know,
as
he
Sebastian.
is the star of Snowpiercer, the TNT show, and
Yes.
plays the brother to Rainbow in Blackish.
He's also cut his teeth on a little thing called Hamilton.
That is true. I was trying to. I was going through this stuff in my head. So yes, Hamilton was
He
another
was
one. He
also the
played.
titular star of one of my favorite commercials of all time, the Seamless commercial with or Grubhub. Well, they're the same thing now, with Cookie Monster. So,
Yes, he did that too.
but
I was trying to like one up you with another one. But go ahead.
sticking with Disney, Disney has
It was
officially
the
be
rapper. It was the rapper in the Get Down.
he was yes. Sticking with Disney, Disney has officially become the coolest ever. If they weren't already, they nailed it. So Disney has announced and shown off their retractable lightsaber. So
Yes, he said it.
Disney Imagineers have been busy since
Say it again because
2018.
they didn't hear you. Say it again.
They have shown off their real life retractable lightsaber. It actually comes up and then
Not
goes
the
back down.
plastic.
No,
Not the plastic little dumb thing,
it's a
which was
beam
cool at one
sword.
point.
An actual beam sword comes up. I don't think it's like plasma. I don't think it's gonna cut through wood or metal or anything, but it comes up and then comes all the way back down. It has the noises on top of that, which is intense. Even like the whooshing when you move it around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so apparently Disney Imagineers have been working on it since 2018. They announced it. They gave like the first look in a commercial, like a quick little snippet. I think it was a year or
Mm.
two ago, but they actually showed it off at South by Southwest 2023, and it's intense, man. It's real.
Yeah. It's really dope. So I saw it. My friend sent it to me. I woke up or I was getting ready for work. I saw a text and I saw it. And that's when I texted you.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty dope. I read up on it and you know me, when it comes to things that I want to know how they work, I do look into it. Well, the cool thing is that their patent is something you can see and read. Patents.google.com. You can find it. And we'll put the link as well in our YouTube videos. Um, yeah, the way it works, it's like a lot of metal gears. And imagine like a measuring tape that's the part that makes it retract. It's like a thin metal retractable tape.
Hmm.
But and again, I don't know the science behind it because I would have to like sit down and read it and try to understand it. But from the quick glance I was able to do and the way my brain works, I can understand it, but hard to explain. It's the tape comes out, but with all these lights, it's just refracting on it, so it just looks like the sword or
Hmm.
the light. So if you and Justin, if you didn't get the chance, look up the patent. The images are there. You can see the inside of the hilt, so it shows you the little tape inside and then the way it works. I just wonder how bright that is and the way the light mechanics work on there. Um, I give them their flowers. ever since I read the book, I forget the name of the book, and I'll put it in there if you guys are interested in Disney Imagineers. They do a lot of stuff. Say what you will about not being a fan of Mandalorian, it's fine, but you can't take away that they build a dome to do filming. Everyone's going to start using that in the future. It's such a cool thing. And the dome is basically a dome that is just a big screen. And when you film in there, it's like you're in this large landscape.
Yeah.
And you're just in a small room or small building. The fact that they created this is just innovation on the next level. Disney's always pushing boundaries when it comes to blending technology and film. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People do it together, or you got people like James Cameron who just hunts for these technology and do it themselves. No shade to him. It's just dope to see, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like you said, they're constantly pushing. They're constantly pushing the envelope. They're constantly pushing technology. Apparently, Disney, unfortunately, has no plans to sell this lightsaber just yet. I'm sure they still have to perfect the technology that goes on with it. It actually, like, from the video where they show it off, it does look bright, but remember they're in a dark room, so it might not actually be that bright. The room actually might be dark on purpose in order to show it off a little better.
Yeah.
So we still have no idea what this will hold. Is this something that they're going to use in movies? Is this something that they're going to use at the parks?
I believe the parks.
Was this a tech thing that they did just to kind of like prove they can do it and use this technology moving forward in different projects and different capacities? I can't imagine that they would leave money on the table and never sell this thing, but
I believe it's for the parks, as you said, because there was a quote here from that. It's build film moments in the real world, so that seems very park driven. Think about like Galaxy's Edge. You got the Avengers camp. Like it's for those. Selling that wouldn't be a good idea because I feel like it's so bright. Like you can probably hurt someone with it. Like not obviously cut off a limb. I mean like pointing in someone's eyes, like pointing a laser in someone's eye. I feel like it's more for the parks. And then maybe it can just bleed into film so they don't have to have like green screen sticks.
Yeah.
They can actually see this thing actually working.
Well, you got to remember they sell, so I guess it's an extension of Disney because they own Star Wars, but Star Wars sells the correct size lightsabers, right? It's that plastic like filament tube that extends like the 3-4 feet.
The Toys R Us version, but
like the real quote unquote lightsaber, and those have high price points. So I can imagine like you're not gonna get this at like Disney, right? Like you're not gonna go to the gift shop and be able to buy that, and kids will be like waving it around. Like this is something that'll be a collector's item that could justify a high price point. Like you can mark this thing $1,000 and people will buy it. So
I wholeheartedly believe that is the starting price. That should be the starting price.
So I think it'll probably take a little bit to like get the technology stable where they can mass produce these things because the billions get spent in marketing research, right? Oh no, not marketing research. I'm sorry, in product development. So once the thing is developed and then they have the process, then it becomes pennies to make. So
yeah.
So we're probably a little far out from seeing it in mass production, but I can't imagine that it'll stay this like moment thing that they're putting it out as right now.
Yeah, because it'd be dope. Like, obviously, fan films are not like making money, but like for those people that are pursuing their dreams and they're Star Wars fans, they say, "Oh, I want to buy one."
Yeah.
And they want to just shoot a little fan
film,
this is Star Wars fan.
This is a cosplayer's delight right here.
Yeah, definitely. Cosplayers, yeah, exactly. That's just their wet dream right there. So
this is if I had the money, I would buy it too. Hell, why not? Just to have it.
I would just have it to have it. I don't cosplay, but I would definitely get it.
Just to have it. I would keep it in my backpack. I would have it as if it was a thing that needed to go around with me. Like,
Someone try to jump you, and you're like, you don't want to do this. Why not, loser? And then you just get punched in the face.
yeah, then they beat the crap out of
But
me.
you still got to do it though.
Exactly.
Oh my.
I had the ability to do it. So, you know, I'm sure it'll be coming to every nerd's what is a man cave sooner or later. So, keeping in the world of movies, Quentin Tarantino has apparently written his final film titled The Movie Critic. So, it's apparently supposed to start filming in the fall. It's supposed to have a female lead, and it's going to be taking place in 1970s Los Angeles. That's it. It was a report in the Hollywood Reporter. There's little to no real details yet, but yeah, apparently he only ever wanted to make 10 films, and this was his 10th. I don't know, like I don't know if this will be his last one because the ever fabled Kill Bill Volume 3 is like a thing that he wanted to do, you know? I know he
Yeah,
was.
it's one of those things. I think I was talking to you about this where Hayao Miyazaki is always like, I'm gonna go into retirement, but it's like I believe, and I don't know if you told me this, someone told me, it's like when they go into when he specifically goes into retirement, it's not that he never says he's done making movies.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Tarantino. He says this may be his final film, like his, but it doesn't mean he will stop directing or writing, or he will still be making movies in some shape or form. But of his, I can believe that is his 10th film, but maybe that may change his mind. I don't know.
I
He
don't know.
may say
Like,
this is just everyone has inspiration. It's not like he sat there before his first movie. He's like, I'm gonna make 10 films.
yeah, and it's a thought that came about as he became a director, as he
Yeah.
started to portray
Became
his art,
Tarantino.
you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a thing here from IGN that it was actually his most noted abandoned or delayed projects. So, remember, he was attached to a Star Trek movie. Remember that? Like, he was
Didn't know
supposed, yeah, he was supposed to, like, write or direct. I don't remember what it was, but he had apparently pitched to J.J. Abrams.
that.
Kill Bill Volume 3. Like I said, it's been a thing that's been spoken about for decades. Um, and Uma Thurman has even spoken on it, like that it's been discussed with Quentin. So, what is it? Here they have, he was asked about it last summer, and he mentioned that he and Uma Thurman have thought about it a little further. So it's like, is he really gonna leave? There's another one called Double V Vega, which is supposed to be, it's starring the Tarantino verse brothers, Vic and Vincent Vega. So Vincent Vega being, oh my goodness,
John
why
Travolta.
John Travolta from Pulp Fiction, and the other guy from Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill, Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs, and it's
I
supposed to be.
assume it wouldn't be them reprising their roles because they'd be too old right now.
Well, yeah, now they'd
Unless
be
there was
too
like,
old because this is supposed to be. It was supposed to be a prequel to their movies,
yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
but
Um,
apparently it was
but again,
delayed.
it's like when it comes to that discussion of final film or doing these things, because like I putting myself in his shoes or just my shoes rather, like for example, when people tell me like, oh, I wish I saw more of my brother Teddy, blah blah blah, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I was trying to focus on telling us saying something with that story. Like, yeah, there's unlimited possibilities with that story. But right now, I'm just getting off the ground. For him, he was getting off the ground at some point. But then, as you said before, when you get established, people come with you with ideas, or you become inspired with another idea. And the further you keep making other movies, the less the other movies either take precedence. Not saying he's forgotten them. It's just, he it's not like he has to put the money himself. He's gonna have to. money's gonna have to come from somewhere. You got to get the. It's like there's a lot of things at play here.
Yeah.
Um, if we were gonna ask my opinion, and I don't think it would be his last film.
No, I don't think so
Maybe
either.
it'll be the last 10 films that he wanted to do. Maybe he had these 10 ideas.
Yeah,
This
and
Quentin Tarantino verse. I don't know.
yeah, this list goes on and on. Apparently, he wanted to be the one to bring Casino Royale to the theaters, like before it was actually made into a movie. He wanted to do a
Yeah.
Luke Cage film, a Man from Uncle film, Less
Oh, he
Than
would have done great.
Zero. What else, man? Killer Crow. So it was supposed to take. It was supposed to be the third movie in the Django and Inglourious Bastards trilogy. It would have been a World War II movie that's centered around African American soldiers.
Ooh, like
Um,
Tuskegee.
I guess, but like an
That would have been
original.
dope.
The Psychic, a remake of the horror film. Modesty Blaze, which was a 60s British comic strip that he wanted to bring forward. The Berlin Game, which is the book. Uh, and a John Brown biopic, whatever. Um, yeah, so there's so many things that have been quote unquote abandoned, and some of them like linking to his actual projects. So they might still have a chance to come through. And I really don't think Quentin is gonna officially retire in the grand scheme of things, especially like in like directors, right? He's young. Like look at
Yeah.
people like this guy, the oh my goodness, he just came out. Who directed The Irishman? Martin Scorsese.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that man's like almost 1,000 years old and he's still directing movies. So
He's talking poop about other movies too,
yeah,
which is upsetting. Very pretentious.
but yeah, I have a feeling it might be one of those things where he'll retire and then, like Miyazaki, like you spoke about, like another idea will come to him and he'll be like, all right, dust off
Yeah,
the
like it's one
director's
of those.
chair.
I want to get to that point as well, like because you can retire and then live your life, you know.
Yeah,
So he may want to just do the same thing. Like, not that he's not living. It's not like he's directing a movie every other year. He takes a break and he's just chilling.
long breaks too.
Um, yeah, they're long breaks, but I forget what I was gonna say. But yeah, same with Miyazaki. He's just hanging out and then come with an idea and you just do it. And if it's important, if you have something to say, you do it and you do the film.
Yeah. So last two pieces of movie news here. Um, we're gonna jump back into the heroes for a moment. The DCU. Shazam, unfortunately, is back on the docket, and it's Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and their latest TV spot. For whatever reason, DC, WB, Discovery, Zachary Levi, whoever it was, decided to actually ruin the movie's big cameo. I'll give you a couple of seconds. I'll give the spoiler alert just in case anybody wants to, you know, mute me for a moment. But the cameo being Wonder Woman. So it's upsetting. Not only is this the TV spot, but this is also an online trailer. I've seen it on social media. Like, this is everywhere in the marketing for this movie. And it was enough to have the Amazons be talked about in the trailer.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't understand why they would go the extra mile and show Gal Gadot.
You know what it is. I have to assume, like, but then Marvel doesn't do this either. Like, especially with Spider, this No Way Home. So, like, I have to assume, like, these companies are always getting hacked, and they're just like, we're gonna shotgun it, we're gonna do it, and they're like, no, we're gonna do it first. But I'm like, we knew, Toby, Papa Tobes, and Andrew Garfield were in No Way Home, but Marvel just stuck to their guns, edited out that film, just false advertised the heck out of that trailer, and we were still surprised. We knew they were there, but we were still surprised. This goes back to like we go back to our Doomsday conversation. Like, if he wasn't on screen, if I saw it in theaters, I would have been pleasantly surprised. Gal Gadot is great. Wonder Woman is great, but now when we go to theaters, what else are we looking forward to? You know what I mean? You have to give me like the Justice League would have to show up. Like that's the only way I would be like, oh wow, this is.
At this point, we've seen so much of the movie with the different trailers, so much of it, which sucks. But now we even got the big reveal that was rumored because there was no solidification that it was in the movie. It was completely speculation that Gal Gadot is going to be reprising her Wonder Woman character. Now we know it's a thing. So what am I going to see this movie for? What's the point? At least, Black Adam, for it not being a perfect movie, it did have, it kept secret the Henry Cavill cameo.
Well, not necessarily. It wasn't shown at all, but The Rock was just going around like, yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, but but this is what I'm saying. Like,
at least we didn't see it, because then at the end of the day, when the movie dropped, they could have cut it out.
And we had something to look forward to. You know what I mean? Like, there was that little bit of like, oh, it was gonna happen. Like, with the Flash, really leaning towards Michael Keaton being in it, Ben Affleck being in it, like. And now,
don't tease it, and then or don't, like, for example, and I said this off there before we started recording. It would have been cool if they didn't show General Zod, to see Michael Shannon come reprise his role.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's a big thing because he is a popular character in Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at it, but it would have been a genuine surprise.
Yeah.
But that just lets me like, what else are we gonna see in this movie? That's what that question brings to me, because it's an alternate timeline in 2013.
And it sucks because we have that expectation now. And if they don't deliver on that expectation, the movie is going to suffer pretty heavily. Where I'm also hearing, just quick tangent, talking about The Flash for a moment. I'm hearing rumors that Grant Gust, he's finally, hung up. He filmed his last bits for the Flash show. He's done. But Grant Gust is apparently going to have a cameo appearance in the movie, just like Ezra Miller had a cameo appearance in the show.
That was the rumor, right? That's what you're saying?
So there's a rumor.
Like, I'm fine with that, but to lean into it and then show it would just ruin things.
And this is the thing, like, let the fans have this rumor. Let us kind of foam at the mouth for what we could see. Not, like, why give it to us? Because now the bar is really high. Shazam, for me, it was almost like begrudgingly I'll go see it. And now I really feel like I'm not even going to see this movie till it comes out and I hear something.
It's funny you say that, because and you can say the same too. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. The only reason I'm seeing
it was a fun time.
I really liked the first one. In its old regime under the different suits, I was like, this is a very well made movie. It still has that Zack Snyder look to it, that little sheen. And the only reason I'm going to see this movie is because it's like, the first one did very well. But now, again, we both agree that we don't like the family thing. It was too soon. It's like using that. It's like when you're playing a fighting game with someone online and they keep using the same move over and over again. It's just very annoying. So using the family power up is like, okay, great. And I went to see Creed, and the trailer was there, and unfortunately I had to just reluctantly watch it, and I was like, oh wow, this is the entire movie. And I looked at Gabby and I was like, so that was a fun movie, right? Trying to see it again. like they show the ending, the dragon, I forget this woman, the two villains, they were like
Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu.
Yeah, it was the end of the movie. Like, he had his battle scars and everything. I was like,
at this point, the only
trailer.
At this point, the only thing that would save this movie, I guess, quote unquote, for me, would be at the end, they figure out a way for the other kids to relinquish the power. It goes back to Shazam proper, and maybe now he has more power.
Well, when it comes to my nerd book, I'm gonna open it real quick. In the during the New 52, nearing the end, Shazam loses his powers. So he
Yeah.
loses his Greek powers, and then he gains new abilities from these old gods with the same, still has the same acronym, so it still spells out Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they're going to go that route. But then that is in itself a theory that I'm thinking. It's not something where in the theaters they're like, oh yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. He's losing his Greek powers just to sacrifice those and getting these other powers. But again, we'll see. And then this is supposed to be these last few movies. Not so we could just continue. I'll just say this: there's supposed to be a soft reboot.
Yeah.
I've heard that Levi is supposed to stay as Shazam. He never really, well, he technically did uh, talk to or intertwine with other
Yeah.
Snyder characters. So either he's gonna forget it because, like in the comics, Flash or Barry Allen's the only one that knows what happened
No.
in the original world. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a lot of room to play around with this reboot. And I'm the only other thing that would save this movie in my mind is like if they figure out a way to bring Cyborg in. If they are able to then fix the mistakes of the past with all these movies that are coming out, right? Like so with Black Adam happened. We got Henry Cavill. We now know that we're no longer moving forward with him. Now we're getting Shazam. We got to see Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman again, and then we're gonna get Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck in the Flash, along with maybe Jason Momoa. Like, if we could get Cyborg in one of these things, if then I could see this maybe being a nice kind of send off for everyone, where everyone
Yeah,
had
it
one
sounds like
last
you're
go
saying.
about,
Sounds
you
like
know?
that. Sounds like that, and it also seems like they're just kind of like, oh yeah, like you're saying exactly that. It's a nice
Yeah,
send off. I would love to believe that they tapped Ray Fisher and they saw the scene in for Flash because he was a major proponent, prominent character in the Flashpoint comic book and animated movie.
yeah,
He has to show up because Supergirl plays the Superman version. So I was like, she's not the super he's not the wow. Why am I forgetting the cyber? She's not the cyborg replacement. She's playing Superman in the comics, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Because it was a skinny Superman, but in this version, it's just Supergirl. But you're not wrong. It sounds like it's just gonna be a send off because in Aquaman, Ben Affleck's Batman shot a scene as well. But also mini tangent. I heard the movie is not getting well received things, but if that's the case, it's getting canned anyway.
yeah. So hopefully there's some way to fix this. Speaking of a movie that is coming out and could actually be extremely charming, Netflix's Chupa has just dropped its first trailer, and it is basically a Latino ET. Let's put it that way.
Uh, I will agree with Justin. I didn't see the trailer, but when he told it to me, I just looked up a still and I was like, oh, I just from looking at a still, it looks just like that.
So it's
And
it's a
I will
very cute take on the chupacabra. Like that's a folklore
say
thing.
Latino, to say Latinx. That'd be some
Yeah,
correct. I'm,
Latinx.
I'm
This is
just
it's it's
sure.
a
Yeah.
it's a folklore thing in like Latin countries and stuff and the Caribbean and all that. Um, it's kind of reminiscent of like a Sasquatch or something. It is a being that's an animal that goes around and everyone says they see it, but they've never seen it. Folklore. So in this one, the chupacabra is actually discovered by a kid, and the friends and stuff. You got like this kind of Goonies vibe. It's a group of kids, and then they're protecting the entity being Chupa, and it's ET basically. It's a modern ET. That's the vibe I'm getting. Very cute. The character design of Chupa is something that's like ugly cute almost, and it's I can see this thing going all over the place and being, a internet mascot. once it drops fully. So just something to keep an eye out for all the
Yeah,
movie
stuff.
peoples.
That is
So
yeah. Instead of flying over the moon, they're like going on the ground.
yeah, yeah, kind of
I
actually.
just realized what I said, but yeah.
But that was it for all the movies. We do have like two little tidbits for video games, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. So Lord of the Rings and Magic the Gathering are officially having a crossover. They announced it about like a month or two ago, but now it's coming out, and they have cards from like Gandalf the Grey to the One Ring. You got like Frodo in there.
I did see that. I saw the One Ring card, and I was like, "What is this?"
It there
But this
and the
makes sense.
art is, Magic is known for the art, and the art is beautiful
Mhm.
on all these cards. And it will be a special edition limited printing, so they're only going to do it one time, and it's all going to be, what is it? It was up for pre-order, but I was trying to see when it actually comes out. But right now, it's still in the pre-order phase.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see when. Uh, but yeah, this is, it's a different kind of gaming, but I feel like because it included Lord of the Rings, it was something that it was fun to kind of call out here. So there's
So,
one, two, three, four packs, I guess, and there is a booster. It has its own starter kit for $16, and if you want to get it all, it's 8 set boosters with accessories for. Oh, and so the regular bundle is $50 $55, and the like gift bundle, which has a collector booster included with the other 8 boosters, is 58.67. These are available for pre-order on Amazon right now, so everyone can go check it out. But yeah, it looks like there are 4 decks, 4 full decks, and each of them are going to be 47.59. And they have, oh wow, they have a full collector booster box with 12 packs and a box topper card for $440.
wow.
Just the little
I
pack,
buy,
the 15
I buy
cards.
PS5 with that.
Yeah, the little pack, the 15 cards is $31. All of these are coming out June 23rd. Exclusive art, exclusive characters, and it integrates directly with the main Magic game. So it looks awesome. If anyone's a huge Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings nerd, here you go. This is for you. Last bit of video game news. It was a little quiet this week for video game stuff, but like I mentioned beforehand, uh, when we were talking about the Super Mario Bros. Movie, there has been a silent update to Super Mario Kart. No, to
What is the
Mario
silent?
Kart 8 Deluxe. So I call it silent because the update happened the same day as the direct. But
Okay.
I didn't see anyone covering it. Even today when I was going through for stories and stuff, I didn't see anything. So in the game right now, the booster pack is available, right? The courses have been coming out every so often. I think three there's another 3 cups that are coming to um whatchamacallit, that are going to come to the game. But as of right now, we got those courses coming, and they updated the character roster to include 5 new character slots.
Ooh.
So with the last booster course pack, whatever they called it, they included Birdo as a new character to the game. Now, even if they were to give 1 new character per pack that's coming out, there's still like 3 slots left or 2 slots left. So what is that for? I'm gonna tell you right now what it's for. It's for the character versions that we're gonna see in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I don't know if we're gonna
I
get.
am behind that.
I don't know if we're gonna get the carts, like, and whatever gets shown in the movie. It might be a little hard to integrate that stuff, but we will get those character models. We're gonna get the movie versions of Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Toad, Princess Peach, maybe Bowser. Maybe we get like a cool like random character like Kamek. Maybe we'll get Kamek because they did show Kamek quite a lot in the trailers. So maybe we'll get something like that. But it has to be. It absolutely has to be. I'm not crazy. I'm right. I did the same kind of thing when Super Smash Bros. Came out, and I spent 2 or 3 hours analyzing that whole character poster, picking out the spaces where the characters could be. Guess what? I guessed it to the number. This is the same thing that's going on right now, and Big Nintendo doesn't want you to know about it. So hurry up, and get your get your Nintendo
You
Switch
know, watch it,
online
like
so that you could get the booster
for
pack for free and get these new characters when they drop.
they just like crash through your window. Like I'm like, no, Justin. It's like silence you.
Mario in a bandana just like takes me out.
I'm like, and he's just like, you saw nothing.
Turns off the stream.
And I'm just like, what do I do?
Luigi is right behind you, and then the stream goes black.
That's so OD.
But yes, I'm the first one to report this. Let the people know this has to go out everywhere.
Yes. Share
So
this and retweet. You're gonna see this probably on TikTok. Retweet, repost, do all
yes,
the things. You heard it here first.
yes, and we'll do a quick like 30-second weekly wrap. For me,
Yeah, I don't have a lot.
I did no reading again. I've been watching pretty much nothing besides The Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine also, and then me and my wife finished watching The Perfect Match, and we're still watching The Last of Us. We're behind. We finally watched episode 5, I think, yesterday.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to finish that this week, and then
Yeah.
playing. I've actually been playing Mario Kart because I found out that Golden Mario is a thing in this game, and I had no clue about it. So I went through and I finished. I got trophies uh, for all the new cups, and then I went back and like tried to get everything there. I'm actually making my way through the time trials because I've unlocked everything for Golden Mario except for the Golden Wheels. The Golden Wheels, you need to beat all the time trials that are set by the Nintendo staff. So you have to beat those to get the Golden Wheels, which is the last little unlockable.
I'm gonna play some tomorrow, and I gotta
So
train for the new. We gotta get back on that. But yeah,
yeah, so
on the plane.
did all that. I think that's it really. I haven't been playing anything else. So Jay, take it away. What have you been watching, reading, or playing?
Watching. I never really add this because it is always a reoccurring thing, but I should start doing it like you do with The Office. I've been watching How I Met Your Mother. I'm on season 7 already. For the umpteenth time. Um, Watching Last of Us, but also for listeners, we are gonna do a review for the thing. You already know what our review is gonna be, but we just want to discuss it in its
Mm-hmm.
entirety because we did discuss that we want to talk about it. And what else? Watch Creed. We knew that. Reading right now, still Akira, dude. I can't put it down. Like before we started reading,
Yeah.
recording, I was reading it. Like it's
Wow.
good. I still don't know how. So again, I'm for those who don't know, I do own the book, so I'm gonna throw myself under the bus. I have it illegally downloaded, but what I like is that these downloads have the original like prints where like the printed scans where of its time. So as I was reading it, it's saying, "Oh, the animated movie's coming out," and it's saying because they were limited. They're like they're going to show in Boston, they're going to show in DC, they're going to show. It was selected theaters, selected cities. So it
Mm-hmm.
was cool to like. I'm like going through time as I'm reading this
Yeah,
book,
that's
and
fun.
in these like books, you see uh, other of Osamu's other artworks, which he still has great stuff. After I finish this, I'm gonna read or I'm gonna watch Akira again, and then get back to my Hayao Miyazaki films. But after that, I need to get into his works as well because he has a lot of dope stuff that I've seen. I just always put in the back burner.
Mm.
But that's like the one thing that's holding me right now. I played a little bit of Metro today, but it's not like holding me like how God of War and Ratchet and Clank. I just need to play buttons with Metro. I'm like walking around. I just need something to play, so I might pivot towards back to Sifu.
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
just restart the game. I had my cousin and my friend play, and they just like aged me up to like 60. So I need to restart the game and play again. But yeah, that's it.
All right. With that, we're gonna wrap it up here. Don't go anywhere, people that are watching on Twitch, because in a couple of minutes we'll jump right back on and do After Dark. But if you're not on Twitch and you're listening, don't forget you can watch us on twitch.tv/theaveragejays every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget you can also like, follow, subscribe, all of these things. We have a YouTube, we have a TikTok, we have a Twitter, and an Instagram. All the Average J's podcast. You can go check us out there. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. I'm Jay Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois. And remember, you can do all the things he said in the known universe. Don't mess that up.
Yes. So stay tuned. We'll be right back for After Dark.